Nancy Pelosi went to Joe Biden directly and privately and basically told him to get out of the race. And Will, we've got good reporting on this, that the Pelosi team, it appears, wanted to handle this behind the scenes, but somebody is now leaking this to the press to take it public.
That's right, Jordan. And this CNN headline tells it all. It says Pelosi privately told Biden polls show he cannot win and will take down the House. Biden responded with defensiveness. Now, this reporting is that she had this meeting or phone call with President Biden before she left to go back to California, which would have been over the weekend, and that they have not spoken since. So as reporters try to drill down when this conversation happened, it appears it probably happened last Friday, which would have been obviously before the assassination attempt on President Trump in Pennsylvania that happened on Saturday. And I can imagine that the assessment from the Pelosi camp of the Democrats has grown more concerned after that about President Biden's prospects in November, as you see her close ally in the House about to be Senator from California, Adam Schiff. He came out publicly yesterday and said that Biden needs to step aside from the race and let someone else have a chance at it so they have a better chance of beating Donald Trump in November. We also see this headline this morning from Axios, behind the curtain. Top Dems now believe Biden will exit. There's a lot moving on that point, as we saw last night, what seemed to be, for the first time in a very long time, a united Republican Party as J.D. Vance gave his nomination acceptance speech in Milwaukee, where you are.
Months is a lot of time in politics. And remember, we now know that Nancy Pelosi and more of the top leadership of the Democrat Party, like Chuck Schumer, are calling on Joe Biden to get out of the race. I mean, there are reports, Will, that could happen as early as this weekend, and then everything changes again. The gunshot, the attempted assassination, that changed everything. I think the Hunter Biden laptop and all of that being real was important for people to start thinking about, well, who is this Biden family? But if Joe Biden announces that he is not going to be on the ticket, it also raises questions about whether or not he should even be president right now. And I think, again, the Democrats better have everything ready to go for this, or else it leads to complete political chaos.
I agree with you, Jordan. I think that we thought if he could survive at first the weekend after the debate, maybe he was safe, but it kept going. And then we thought maybe if he survives the July 4th holiday, he'll be safe. But he kept this whole cry to get him out kept going and going. And then we thought, okay, maybe after a failed assassination attempt, the Democrats will be like, okay, we just need to stop with the infighting and we need to also get our party in order. But no, what you're seeing is a redoubled effort, and even it growing within the leadership of the Democrat Party to try and get Joe Biden to step aside. He still seems like he is stuck in his resolve to stay the nominee, but you're also starting to see some cracks in that resolve, as he gave an answer in an interview that if I have a medical diagnosis that would hinder me from continuing going, maybe then I'll do it. And also you're seeing reports out of the New York Times that he's willing to listen now to these arguments instead of just saying, I'm not going to talk to you.
Nancy Pelosi, we know now, as well as Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff, the list keeps going on, have been going to Biden even before the shooting Saturday, telling him to get out of the race. So the Democrats on Capitol Hill have relaunched, and the party will have relaunched the campaign to remove Joe Biden, which to me means they probably have figured out the money situation and who they want as the nominee. I mean, I don't think you'd be pushing this hard this late if you couldn't figure those two things out.
This chatter within the party starts to get louder, and with the Washington Post headline from this morning that says Obama tells allies Biden needs to seriously consider his viability, it seems more and more like the people that could make a change happen are starting to leak out that they're considering that change.
I do want to play this because we want to focus on J.D. Vance as well as the VP nominee. And one of my favorite moments in his speech last night, let's all watch it.
Our movement is about single moms like mine who struggled with money and addiction but never gave up. And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here, 10 years clean and sober. I love you, Mom. And you know, Mom, I was thinking it'll be 10 years officially in January of 2025. And if President Trump's okay with it, let's have the celebration in the White House.
I think that was extremely powerful from J.D. Vance to personalize an issue like that. And a lot of times people think, oh, these folks who rise to power, have had maybe a perfect life or the silver spoon. And you realize when it comes to J.D. Vance and also talking about those issues, I mean, Will, that resonates with so much of the country right now. The fact that, so many have people in their families that are dealing with addiction issues. And of course, the fentanyl crisis, which is killing the number one, cause of death among young people in America. To bring his mom there to talk about the fact that she was 10 years sober, to make that so public remark, I think that touched probably millions and millions of Americans who, again, may not have known a lot about J.D. Vance, may have thought, he's some right-wing senator, and he really brought himself, back down to earth to resonate with people.
Well, Jordan, I think it's also important that this is one of the first people in history that is a millennial to be picked for a running mate and not by say one of, he is the very first millennial to be placed on a presidential ticket. And I think a lot of the life experience that so many people in a large voting block will be touched by is the fact that he tied all of the mistakes of the Washington elite throughout his entire life to why he is where he is now and the things that he wants to accomplish.
Joe Biden has been a politician in Washington for longer than I've been alive, 39 years old. Kamala Harris is not much further behind. For half a century, he's been the champion of every major policy initiative to make America weaker and poorer. And in 4 short years, Donald Trump reversed decades of betrayals inflicted by Joe Biden and the rest of the corrupt Washington insiders.
Again, the Washington insiders, the difference between the Washington insiders, what they've done to President Trump since he was president, even while he was in office. But you think about even there, though he talked about Joe Biden, of course, being a politician long in Washington, D.C., so a federal elected politician, longer than he has been alive. And of course, that distinction being made, that generation, again, there needs to be some balance there. And I think when you balance Donald Trump at his age with J.D. Vance at his age, the balance is done. And of course, it's easy to see that J.D. Vance is someone who is capable of taking on a role as president if they so needed to at any time. And remember, because this is going to be a 4-year presidency without the option of running again if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance do win. And I think if the election were today and Joe Biden was the nominee, they would almost 100%. I don't see any way of them losing that race